Greetings. In this video, we're going to continue our series on LexiScope, the Greek-English Bible study tool, and we're going to deal with the charts and visualization methods that are found in the LexiScope program. If you haven't seen the first video, we highly recommend that you watch that video first so you'll get an understanding of what LexiScope is, does, and what we're trying to do with it. Here you can see that we have an imperative verb search. That is, we did put imperative for the query and searched for it and found all of the verbs that have an imperative mood. There are 1,893 results, all in these rows of this grid. Now, we have visualization methods here, and the first one is a bar chart. You'll notice that this bar chart has bars, and each one represents a book of the Bible, and it tells you the distribution of all of the query results that you'll find in the grid. And these are also interactive. Say you want to click one of the columns, let's click Hebrews. That will show us all the imperative verbs in Hebrews. You can click Romans. That's all the imperative verbs in Romans. And so you can deal with those, and it filters them accordingly. Here we have the word cloud, another interesting feature. Again, imperative verbs are command verbs, verbs that instruct or demand something be done. And we'll find that the word that is translated, that is the most imperative verb you'll find in the New Testament, is behold, found 189 times. Then you'll find other words such as receive, rejoice, make, take. But this is a very way to quickly visualize how a word is translated. And so we see the verbs and we see behold, and it's a very interesting display, I believe. This one is a heat map. A heat map is similar to the bar chart, except that it deals with chapters. It drills down to a chapter basis. And here we can click the darker chapters have the most hits. We'll click this one, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and it has 22 imperative verbs in it. And you'll notice some chapters have none. Some chapters don't have any. But this gives you a quick glance of how the frequency is distributed across the New Testament. Now for these next ones, we will need to do a different type of search. Let's go back and let's just load John chapter 3. There's John chapter 3. You'll notice the reason the bar chart is just one big bar is because we're only dealing with one book. So there's not other books here to list. Same way the word cloud, these are all the words of John chapter 3 and shows you the most frequent words, which is Jesus, God, and not, Son. Okay, so the most frequent words of the whole chapter. The heat map, again, this is just one chapter, so it's only going to list it right here. But this is the morphology. The morphology is the distribution of the parts of speech and how it's found in this pie chart. There's 120 nouns, 81 conjunctions, 158 verbs, and so forth. And there's different ways you can view the chart, and you can even concentrate on just certain aspects. Here's, if you want to look at the tense of a verb, all the verbs, you have the present tense, aorist tense, second aorist, perfect. So it gives you a distribution of all the verbs in that chapter. And you can do that with any of these. Then we come to the translations. Well, first let's go to syntax tree. The syntax tree will deal with a whole verse. Here's John 3:1. And here you can see, and it lists the Greek word, but we can also put the English word there. And here, John 3:1, a man, Nicodemus, named a ruler, and it tells you the subject, the predicate, and how it's broken down, the modifiers, the connectives, and so forth. So it gives you a syntax tree of how the verse is put together. This next one is phrases, and it takes the phrase, common phrases, that is two words grouped together, and these are Greek words, not English. I mean, it concentrates on two Greek words. And let's go to, say, verse 2. We have all these phrases in verse 2, such as verb, object, conjunction, verb, and verb, object, subject, verb, and also gives you a count of how many of those are found in the entire New Testament. That is, of those exact phrases. And these are links that will actually take you to the other instances to where these exact combinations are found. Say you want to see the subject verb where it is God thou art. Or, let's do that. Let's just try another verse. A man be born. There. A man be born. That's the English translation. But the actual Greek is just these two words. We will click this link. Here they show up, and they have alternating colors. But here, a man be born, and here's the two words. Now, we could go back to another one. I say unto thee. Right here, you'll notice we have the exact same Greek words in order, but it's translated sometimes different. Here it says, saith unto thee, I tell thee, that saith to thee. So you can see the variations of how even a phrase is used in the English Bible when translating the same Greek words. So this is a interesting way to see things and compare things. Now the translations tab gives you what they call a Sankey diagram of how each word is translated. And here, let's go to the lemmas. The lemma of each word, and here is, I can't pronounce it, but it's translated as say. Here it's translated as saith. Here it's translated as tell. Then here's another word I can't say. It says Peter, but that's because it's the connection. It's the second, telling you what the second translation is there. But Nicodemus, man, woman, hypocrites, goodman, frequency, all that. This works a little differently with this type of results than it does with just a straight verse. For instance, if we go back to John 3, then we click and go to translations. It gives a lot of different translations here for all the words in John 3, but if we do a specific word, like we could do KJV equal born, here we see the word KJV word born. It comes from one Greek word. We go to translations, and you'll find here, there it is, the one Greek word used 8 times. But if this was translated another way, use some other different way. Let's do it like this. Let's control-click that. We'll get rid of this. So we're just doing the transliteration of the word. We'll search that. Then you'll notice that this word is translated several different ways. So we'll go back to the translations chart, and we're at the lemma, and we can see how this geneo is translated begat, born, begotten, conceived, brought, forth, bear, and so forth. So you can see how this uses. So how these visualization charts work, it depends on what your results are. Sometimes it has to be word searches. Other times it has to be references, a whole chapter listed or even just a few verses. But that's how these charts will work, and we think that they're revealing. They help us understand even more what's going on with the Scriptures. Now, our next video, we're going to actually do a little workflow of how a person can use this in their studies. Say you just have a certain word or a certain idea that you want to look up, how you can run that through LexiScope, and it potentially can help us better understand what the Lord is trying to show us in the Scriptures.